So I've been following this game from the very beginning, and I really want this review to be fleshed out. In order for me to do that, I'll need to speak on some things to get my point across. So I'll leave a timestamp somewhere and on screen and in the description, so you can skip ahead along with other options. For the last few years, Marvel games haven't had the best track record, and every time I think of Marvel games, the only three that really come to mind is Ultimate Alliance, Ultimate Marvel's Capcom 3, and Spider-Man, as far as quality titles go. Then I remember Marvel's Capcom Infinite, Ultimate Alliance 3, and Marvel Heroes Omega. So I've seen the subpar to mediocre titles for one reason or another. Now, I'm not even going to get into the life-cycling mess that became some of Marvel characters, which trickled down into some games, along with the games only taking the inspiration from Marvel Cinematic Universe, like hardcore comic fans and sometimes even casual fans can't take in an experience they haven't seen already in theaters. Which is unfortunate because there's literally decades of content and inspiration that could be drawn from the comics to make the perfect comic game, figuratively speaking of course. And going back to when I said I was following this game from the very beginning, since the first trailer dropped and after that seemingly fell off the face of the earth, to the point where I wish it thought it was canceled, then sometime later it had another trailer which didn't receive the best public opinion. And then after that, the E3 showing that had really weird demo circumstances to the point where people had to sneak gameplay footage, and that being with itself is like a red flag to me. So with all that being said, I finally gave this game a chance and beaten it and ready to give my review on this from a balanced gamers and comic nerd standpoint. The first thing I immediately want to highlight is that this game, at least for the PS4 Pro version, which is my console, but I would imagine it would be a similar function for the Xbox One and PC, is the ability to go between 4K and highest performance, which is uncapped 60 frames per second, can greatly enhance the gameplay and have my PS4 ready for takeoff the whole playthrough. And me personally, it was a nice treat as a gamer that really doesn't game on his PC but like that, but it was nice seeing a PS4 Pro enhancement that was noticeable in my humble opinion. Next, we'll focus on the story and its aspects, which I was pleasantly surprised to dive deep into and was actually keeping me coming back to the game because I was very intrigued with the writing. And the story is basically Kamala Khan, an Avengers fangirl who gets to meet her heroes and learn who they are for better or for worse, and what it takes to become one of them and earn her stripes, at the same time wanting to understand and come to terms as what she become. And it really displayed a strong female protagonist, which made me appreciate the story even more by the end of the game, seeing the highs and lows of every character and how they dealt with their personal feelings of the situations at hand. Let's speak on mechanisms of the game. For the most part, this game did a great job of differentiation among characters, and when you play with every hero, it felt like the embodiment of that character. For me personally, playing as Iron Man is my favorite superhero of all time. It was a real treat playing as him, as he's shown in almost every media he's in. But back to the topic of differentiation, this also applies to gameplay and how you go about your missions. For instance, Captain America is more of a close range to parry character, while Black Widow is more of a close range to long range character. Now I should have mentioned this game has a huge skill tree, but I'll speak on that at a later point. The game in essence, this game is a beat 'em up, mechanics is good and engaging. Another thing I felt they did a good job on was the upgrade system and the elemental energy that they have in the game, such as cryo, cosmic, and gamma, etc. And also, as the enemies, they can use that against you. You can also obtain gear to fuse that in your attacks, which I liked in the gear system as a whole. So far, I've been generally positive, but now I want to discuss the game's questionable points or shortcomings. First and foremost, the game's ugly at times is hard to look at. Things like hair textures cause me physical pain, and their visual glitches, as well as I ran into some gameplay glitches as well, and it bogged my mind, but the story was good for me and I'm a patient gamer, so I'll tolerate it. Also, they have a multiplayer mode called the Avengers Initiative, which is a multiplayer mode to grind and do missions. And basically, my main issue with that mode is it's supposed to be a post-game mode, and it should be unlocked if they want you to do the campaign story first. Though, even though they give you a spoiler warning, it's still kind of odd to have that mode available from the jump. Revisiting the skill tree I mentioned earlier, the game skill tree is huge, yes, but it can come as overwhelming because you don't exactly get the skill points through a normal playthrough, which can get you the full hero master experience because the skill points feel scarce unless you grind out of your mind or play online or both, which is a good segue into speaking about the iconic character missions, which are basically personal side missions and give a little bit more presence to the overall story. But after beating the game, I didn't have the motivation to do them because they really didn't lead anything special in my opinion, which I should personally say I feel disappointed that Taskmaster, Abomination, and MODOK are the only real villains in the game, and the rest are just giant robots, which is disappointing for a comic game. Also, this game has a lot of backtracking. You basically go to the same level for different missions, which just kind of kills the point of them having a globe/war table. And speaking of missions, most of them did not entice me to do them because they were basically the same mission: search and destroy, capture the area, etc. Lastly, this game is about a good 20 to 25 man campaign, what it felt like, and you probably won't get into more out of that if you're not a completionist. And I didn't have the spirit of that for this game. The comic collection was whatever, the artifacts was whatever. I wasn't even impressed by the customization. It was only a few different suits with the power swaps, which is getting crazy because comics have been around for decades and they should be able to get a few different costumes with the real alternate colors. And it generally came off as copy and paste feeling. Just disappointed. And before I forget, the game has loading screens are horrendous. I don't know if that's because I played on highest performance, but it made dying and mission phase a living nightmare. So here's my last thoughts, then I get my recommendation. Overall, I feel like this game has big ambitions, and kudos for that, but it's obvious this game is in development hell, and they probably put it out because it came too far to be scrapped. Mind you, this game has been out early since probably late August due to early copies, and I beat this game September 12th. And I only seen one patch of the game as far as I can remember, so this tells me that this is the alpha build on shelves. And it feels as something that is half cooked and the other part is cold, which is unacceptable because we live in modern times where a game can be fixed by patches, but a game shouldn't be sold if that's not how the studio intended. This game has a bad reputation since E3 reveal, and it's unfortunate that it's going to live up to it because most games are sold on mass hype nowadays. And I bought this game seeing my personal hype through the end, and unlike me, most gamers don't think a game can be redeemed if it's not popular after release, so the game has to live with mud on its name. I can see myself revisiting this game for DLC purposes, which have multiple heroes coming in and Spider-Man being exclusive to the Sony brand, and not to mention the game will have a free upgrade to the PS5, so technically I own my first PS5 game, which has me curious to wonder how much better this game can get with the PS5 on the way at the time of this video. Can load times be drastically decreased? Can they finally get the textures and visual polish, which with the PS5's power, only time can tell. As far as the next Avengers installment, I would like them to add more villains and more heroes and just focus on the story. Honestly, multiplayer is not needed, especially if you're playing the globe game. Flesh out the world and the universe, and the visuals should be an obvious fix, and anything else I mentioned I didn't enjoy. So here's my recommendation. I will only buy this game if you're a casual to hardcore comics fan. I will catch it on sale as low as you can, and make sure the visuals are improved and get it as a free upgrade to the PS5 or Xbox if you can. And there you have it. I understand I listed many negatives, but I enjoyed this game mostly for what it was supposed to be, and it really tested me what it means to review games. I understand my bias, but I'm not blinded by it, and I hope Marvel games get back to the golden age, and hopefully the mouse doesn't let it go to waste, and like some games already succumbed to. I just want to thank anybody that watched the video that made it to the end. I really appreciate you guys. Check out my channel, leave a like, a comment, and that really help me out. Give me some feedback. I'm always trying to improve my reviews and all my videos. Check out the Hydra Alpha Omega, which is this channel, my commentary channel. Check out my gaming channel that will soon be up and running whenever I get to it, but there'll be some good content on that one. And let me know what you think of the Avengers game. Do you plan on picking it up, or did you say hell no? Do you even like comics? I want to hear. I want to have a real conversation in the comments. And I really appreciate anybody that watched the video. And also, again, rest in peace, Chad. Really sorry to let you go so young in life. You're talented, you're blessed, and we love you. We miss you. But that's gonna be the end of the video. Have a good day. Goodbye.